Hello, hello. Welcome back. And today we are going to be talking about when you're walking into a home showing and it's so exciting, but what most buyers have no idea about is what they should actually be looking for. And so we are going to go over that today. And if you didn't know, this is the No BS Home Buyers Live series where I will be breaking down the home buying process into simple steps so that way you can go from thinking about buying to actually buying a home. So let's talk about how you walk into a home and actually know what you're looking at. Most buyers, when they are walking into a home, are focused on the staging and how the house looks and how it feels. But the real goal of home shopping is to see how the house is going to function when you live in it. So you're not just touring a home, you're evaluating a big purchase. So let's dig into it a little bit more and look at the 5 big things that we should be looking at when we are home shopping and when you're going to showings. So first and foremost, I think that's important is the layout and the flow. Does this home actually work for your day-to-day life? It may look really cute and be staged super well, but if it is not functional for you, you're not going to be happy living there. So think about where the rooms are placed. Is the front door, when you open the door, open right to your kitchen and you cook all the time and you know dishes are probably your least favorite part of cooking? Maybe that's not the house for you. Or, if you have kids like I do, maybe I don't want a master or primary bedroom on the main level and all my kids upstairs. I want to be around them because I'm still run into their rooms in the middle of the night to crawl into bed with them and make sure they're still sleeping. You just really want to think about the functionality of where the rooms are. And then you may even find like the way to get to different things just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. One that I actually see get called out a lot is basements. And if you have very large furniture and there's not a walkout where you can like bring the furniture around the back, you might notice that the basement isn't going to work because it's too tight of a corner and you're going to get no furniture in there. So just really think about the layout and the flow. Make sure it's not awkward because you can change finishes, but you can't easily change the functionality of a house. And so you just want to make sure you're buying with that in mind. I would say number 2 would be the condition of the big systems. Now we are talking where the real money is because we all know that when you have to replace one of the big items, it gets a little scary and is not easy on the pocketbook. So we are talking about the roof, the HVAC, windows, and the foundation. Those are probably the 4 biggest ones that we consistently see. In some states, pools are another big, huge potential expense. So you want to see what these systems conditions are, and if they are all old or not in the best shape, there are ways to mitigate the risk with these, but typically it's best to get them taken care of before you buy. The big one we keep running into right now is roofs. Any kind of insurance claim that can be pulled on a roof before you buy is ideal because we are having situations where people buy a house and then come to find out after they've closed that they can no longer get insurance on the roof. And so that's a really big one you want to pay attention to. And that's one I prefer to get to addressed before closing. The HVAC and like plumbing systems tend to be a little bit easier to be covered with a home warranty. We've personally had really good luck with warranties, but if you search online at all, you will find mixed reviews and a lot of people who have feel they got screwed over. But if you're doing your home shopping and you find out during inspections that, the HVAC could really go at any time legitimately, then you might see if you can negotiate that in. But if it's still working, it's just old, you might consider a home warranty in those situations. But we want to really look at the conditions of the big systems because these are big ticket line items that can cause you a really big pain in your pocketbook and make home ownership not very fun very quickly. So cosmetic issues, not a big deal. Those are easy. Big systems are expensive, and though it may be easy to get someone in there, are not easy on the pocketbook. All right, number three would for things to be looking for would be signs of maintenance or lack thereof. So this can tell you how well the home has been cared for. When I am working with my sellers, I point this out to them and let them know that buyers really are looking at the condition of the home and judging how you've taken care of it the last however many years you've owned it. I will tell you, when I walk into a home and I see a bunch of dog hair all over the baseboards, the vents aren't dusted off, little things like that just trigger to me like, if they can't take care of these little things, knowing that they're selling the house, what did they forget maintenance wise the whole time during their ownership? And a lot of this stuff can kind of pop up and be noticeable. Like you'll see peeling paint in just little areas that you walk by every day, or water stains, or just things that you can tell had been sitting there too long, worn areas of a house. Otherwise, general cleanliness, I think, is probably the biggest like flag waver for me. Is like, again, you're selling your house, so you should do a deep clean. You're trying to present your house in the best light. And if you can't even do a deep clean before selling, you either really need to sell or you haven't been taking very good care of your house. So just signs of maintenance are really a really good way to take that showing time and use it effectively, and just look for, if there's one or two maintenance things, yeah, we get it. Everyone lives with little things. But if you're finding a little, oh, could have done this here, could have done that there in every single room, that's a red flag. And I would be surprised to not see quite a few things come up on an inspection on something like that. But how they maintain the home tells you a lot more about it than how they stage it. Because you can have a really ugly house with some really pretty staging. And if all you see is the pretty staging, you're going to miss all the big things. In the industry, we call it lipstick on a pig. Typically, you see these on flips, like, oh, they bought the house really quick, threw some paint on it, and put it back on the market. Those can be really obvious. Like, if they're just taking the roller and painting outlet covers and everything, like, be cautious, and use those showing times to educate yourself on that. Another one to look out for would be water and like functionality checks. You are allowed to turn things on. Now, please, we prefer you do not use the bathroom legitimately for bathroom reasons at houses. But if you want to turn on the water, make sure that you're getting some hot water. See if the showers have like a good enough water pressure. That can be very important for some people. You are allowed to test these things. Just don't abuse it, please. And as long as you're not writing off inspections, the inspector is going to be testing these as well and making a note on them. But if there's something that you're very serious about, that you're like, no, I need this, like, test it out, make sure it works, make sure it does what you need it to do. Because if you aren't getting enough water pressure and you've got really hard to wash hair, you're going to be really upset when that Amazon shower head doesn't work as well as it claims. So just something to remember is that you can test things, but again, be respectful, don't break their things, and do unto others as you would have done unto you. And if you can't cover it in your walkthrough, just know an inspector is likely going to check it. And then other things that I see buyers kind of bypass is the stuff you can't see in photos. So they see all these beautiful photos of this house, and they're like, oh, I'm ready to make an offer. One, I don't recommend you buy sight unseen. It makes you less comfortable. It makes the sellers less comfortable. But also, photos don't tell the whole story. You can't smell a photo. You can't hear the noisy neighbors in a photo. You can't see that there isn't a lot of light during the day because there's barely any windows. And you definitely don't get the whole neighborhood vibes from a photo. You have to be there in person for these things. Photos are meant to sell the home, but the showings will reveal the truth about the home. And yes, we love that the photos look great, and that is a big part of marketing a house to sell. But go in there, get the physical feel, look around, walk around, check the functionality, check all these things during your walkthrough, and really figure out if this house is going to be the right one for you. Okay, now let's talk about some common mistakes. Obviously, not touching on any of those would be a big mistake, but here's some things that I see buyers get, you know, distracted by when they are searching for their home or on home tours. I see them looking at just the decor. Sometimes that can be really good if the sellers have good style or a style that matches yours. Other times, sorry, I've got my child here. Other times, the decor can be very not your style. And if that's all you can see, you're missing the point of the house showing. You're here to look at the house, not their furniture. So don't get distracted by the decor or the furniture. You would hope they would make it as neutral as they can so that way you can imagine your stuff there, but that doesn't always happen. So do your best to remember you are buying the house, not the items in the house. And then rushing through. I do see a lot of buyers quickly go through a house. And it is crazy to me that we typically only show a house one time in like a 15 to 30-minute time frame, and then we go through the process of buying and offering and buying. And really, you've only seen that house that one time, and then your inspection and walkthrough. So you see a house maybe 3 times before you officially buy it. So on your showing, if you really like the house, take your time. Now, there are some houses you're going to walk in the door and you're going to be like, nope, this isn't for me. Don't waste our time. That's cool. You can walk out of that house fine and dandy. But if you have any inkling that you might like the house and you might want to put an offer, please take your time, check it out, imagine yourself living there, imagine what your morning routine would be. Still be respectful of your realtor and the seller's time. Like, we're not taking 2 or 3 hours. You can't just sit outside on a bench and listen to the birds for hours, but you can take your time, walk through the house, imagine it as yourself living there. And then if you need another perspective, maybe bring a friend and do a second showing. Another thing, a mistake I see often is not asking questions. I see this a lot with like acreages because there is a little bit more nuance with acreage properties. Like if there's a pond, what kind of HOA, and these questions can apply to just regular homes as well. But if you don't know something, and you don't ask, you're going to continue to not know something. And then when you own the home, you're going to be like, well, what is this thing? And it's kind of not always guaranteed that you're going to get a response from the sellers once you've purchased. Another thing would be to compare everything too quickly. I see a lot of times a buyer will miss out on a house, and then that is their benchmark comparison for everything else. Even though they weren't willing to go up in price and do all the things they needed to do in order to win that house, they are still comparing every house they see back to that one. So don't get caught in the comparison game. Yes, we want to compare how functional things would be for you, but we don't want to just say, well, it doesn't have the black door handles like house ABC, so I don't like this one. You have to just be very careful on your comparison game and make sure that you're doing it reasonably and understanding that each house will have its own benefits and disadvantages. So again, don't let these mistakes hinder your ability to buy your house. All right, now let's talk about how to tour like a pro. I would suggest taking notes. Your realtor may give you like a home checklist, or maybe they'll shoot you a text after, kind of just getting a feel for how you felt about the house. If you want, you can write on paper like things you liked about it, things you didn't like about it, give it a rating, give it 1 star to 5 stars, whatever you want, but just take notes so that way you can reference back, especially if you're seeing a lot of houses, because it can be really hard to think like, oh gosh, did that house have, the walkout, or was it the 3 houses before that? And so take notes. You can always go back on pictures online, but if there's something specific that you like in that house, take a photo of it, take a video of it. Depending on the state you're in, you might need to check if that's okay. Most sellers should be aware that there's going to be photos and videos taken inside their house, but double check in your state. And then don't compare houses while you're in the house. Do it after. not in the middle of the tour, because then you're just going to, again, get stuck in that comparison game. So compare later. And again, ask your agent questions. So those are the specific tips on how to tour like a pro. And you don't need to decide these things on the spot, but you do need to pay attention to the things that are really important to you. All right. Now, we also need to understand that a house tour or a house showing is not going to tell you everything. You're not going to be able to test every system. That's what an inspection is for. So as long as you're not writing off your inspections, you will still have time to get into the nitty-gritty of the house and the potential problems. Obviously, as you're looking around and going through, and if you see something and you're like, that looks a little odd, like there's a crack in that foundation, ask your realtor. They have probably been around long enough to kind of give an idea of like, that does look concerning, or, oh no, that's actually just the relief mark from pouring the cement. So there are different things that just ask your agent, but do keep a keen eye for potential issues, but understand that the inspection is there to help you collect that information and put it into something that is easily understandable and referenceable. All right, so that pretty much ties this one up. If you're wanting help getting an agent to help tour homes or just to understand what to look for in your price range, I can absolutely help you. If you're local to Lincoln, I'd love to help you here, but if you're not, I can help you get connected with a realtor in your market. I call it my realtor matchmaking. It's fun. I take your information and kind of cater and search around for a realtor that would vibe well with you. And next week, we are going to be diving into the busy season survival guide so we can keep you going and help move you forward with clarity and confidence in your home buying process. And don't forget, this is the No BS Homebuyer Live series. So if you have anyone else that's interested in buying or you think you're going to be buying in the near future, please continue to tune in because we are going to be breaking down the steps into simple, little easy steps that you can go from thinking about buying to actually buying. And I will see you next week. Thank you.